So, good morning, everybody.
Morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning,
Morning,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Mm,
Good morning, ma'am.
So, before we start our lesson, I will let you see a picture first. Kani siya. What do you think, what do you think is the type of water nga naa diri sa baso? Fresh water or salt water?
Fresh water.
Fresh water.
Fresh water, ma'am.
Fresh water.
Mm, very good. So what if kaning baso na naa sa sulod muitong due to pollution? And that same thing will also happen sa atong water resource. What do you think will happen sa ato? What do you think will happen to our water resource? Or unsay effect sa ato ana? What if kana mag-block ang or grabe na ang pollution sa atong freshwater sources?
Dili na pwede ma-use ang
Na
water, ma'am.
ma-intake na to.
Ang mga tao.
Oo, very good. So once gani nga madaot na nato, ma-damage, it is impossible for us to recover sa effect. Fresh water is a vital thing for us because our body is made out of mostly water. Then most of our kanang crops and kaning animals drink only fresh water. Then in the next slide kani makahibalo mo pila lang ka percentage ang unsa kagamay ang percentage of fresh water sa atong kalibutan. So our topic for today is all about surface water. So before we talk about the surface water, ahagikan ng surface water. So surface water comes from the hydrologic cycle. Familiar naman tani tanan, di ba? Hydrologic cycle. Kisa pa wakabaloan eh.
Familiar.
Grabe na, Jod. Familiar na kahit, familiar siya, pero let's talk about the processes. So, first one is evaporation. Second one is transpiration. Or as we call the two collectively as evapotranspiration. Evapotranspiration means is the sum of evaporation from the land surface plus the transpiration from plants. The typical plant, including any found in a landscape, absorbs water from the soil through its roots. That water is then used for metabolic and physiologic functions. Next one is condensation, precipitation, and infiltration and runoff. So the hydrologic cycle involves the continuous circulation of water in the Earth's atmosphere system. At its core, the water cycle is the motion of the water from the ground to the atmosphere and back again. Di man magically nga mag-maintain lang ang water level. So, to maintain the water level sa atong atmosphere, the hydrologic cycle is responsible for it para ma-replenish ang water sa atong kalibutan. So, this is the hydrologic cycle. The hydrologic cycle begins with the evaporation of water from the surface of the ocean. As moist air is lifted, it cools and water vapor condenses to form clouds. Moisture is then transported around the globe until it returns to the surface as precipitation. Once the water reaches the ground, one of the two processes may occur. One, some of the water may evaporate back into the atmosphere, or two, the water may penetrate the surface and become groundwater. Groundwater either seeps its way its way to oceans, rivers, and streams, or is released back into the atmosphere through transpiration. The balance of water that remains on the Earth's surface is called runoff. As you can see, di ba, from the ocean, water evaporates and it goes through the process of evaporation. Then once it condenses sa cloud, once nga di na gani makaya sa cloud ang kabug-aton, it precipitates. Once it reaches the land, one of the two processes happen. It will evaporate or what do you call this, mo seep through siya sa land. Once nga mag-evaporate, balik na sad siya, then ang katong nag-seep through sa land nga water becomes a runoff. Here is, mao ni akong ingon ganina. Only 2.5% of the global water is fresh water. Kana pag yung 2.5%, dili pag yun na tanan mainom. Naiuban ana nga, dili pa accessible to us. So, Salin Lake and groundwater only occupies 1%, and oceans only occupies 96.5%. What if mawala ang fresh water? Natay oceans, natay salt water, but the technology to convert salt water to fresh water is still not yet perfected or not yet even kanang discovered the right way bitaw. So once nga maruan na to na ang fresh water, it will still be so hard for us because salt water once and groundwater of 30.1% and glaciers and ice sheets 68.6%. Bali, once nga, that's why I said nga ganina nga dili tanan fresh water is potable. Kay most of it is naapa siya as glaciers and ice sheets. So, surface water is divided na sad kaning 1.3%. Huna-hunaa. Atmosphere is 0.22%, biological water 0.22%, rivers 0.46%, swamps 2.53%, soil and moisture 3.52%, lakes 20.1%, snow and ice 73.1%. So, kaning fresh water na to, napagini siya snow and ice, kibali, imagine na lang, unsa ra kagamay ang atong source of potable or drinkable water. So, surface water is any body of water above ground, including streams, rivers, lakes, wetlands, reservoirs, and creeks. The ocean, despite being salt water, is also considered as surface water. Surface water participates in the hydrologic cycle or water cycle, which involves the movement of water to and from the Earth's surface. Precipitation and water run off feed bodies of surface water. Evaporation and seepage of water into the ground, on the other hand, cause water bodies to lose water, and water that seeps deep into the ground is called groundwater. So, surface water is a very vital part sa water cycle because it aids sa movement sa water throughout the whole planet. So there are drainage basins. This is where the land areas that contribute to a water system, and the drainage basin of one stream is separated from the drainage basin of another by an imaginary line called a divide. As you can see there, this is a drainage basin, kani siya. Kay dira mal salo tanan runoff water if mag-ulan. So, as you can see here, diri ang drainage basin. Kay diri mo agi tanan runoff gikan sa lain-lain nga So this is the divide. This is mauna drainage basin, part of the drainage basin. So there are three river zones and systems. Number one is the zone of sediment production or collecting system. As you can see here, Tanisha. So collecting system consists of a network of tributaries in the headwater or the higher portions of the river, which collects and funnels water and sediment to the main stream. It commonly has a dendritic or tree-like drainage pattern with numerous branches that extend upslope towards the divide. As you can see here, dendritic siya or tree-like, kay daghan sag sanga-sanga before siya moabot diri nga part. This is what we call as the zone of sediment production or the collecting system. The next one is the zone of transportation or the transporting system. The main trunk stream, which functions as a channelway through which water and sediment move from the collecting area toward the ocean. It may also collect additional water and sediment. Deposition may occur as it meanders or when it overflows during the flood. Mauni sa ang zone of transportation or the transfer zone. Lower elevation siya. Diri magikan ang water from the headwaters, then diri pud magikan ang mga sediments to move to the last zone, which is what we call as the zone of deposition or the dispersing system. So, the dispersing system consists of network of distributaries or stream branches into which a river divides where it reaches its delta at the mouth of a river where sediment and water are dispersed into an ocean, lake, or dry basin. The major process is deposition. From the word nga, depositional zone. Diri na branch off ang water gikan sa ibabaw from the headwaters. Then from the transfer zone, diri na sila mag-disperse. So when a stream system develops freely on a homogeneous surface, the following general relationship develops. Number one, the number of tributaries decrease downstream in a mathematical progression. Number two, the tributaries progressively become longer downstream. Number three, the gradient of tributaries decrease exponentially downstream. Number four, the stream channels become very progressively deeper and wider downstream. And lastly, the size of the valley is proportional to the size of the stream and increases downstream. The relationships evidence that streams erode the valleys through which they flow. As you can see here, daghan pa kay siya tributaries. Kanang murag sanga-sanga niya. Once it moves downstream, gamay na lang siya. But this part here is very deep due to the movement from the upstream. So let's talk about the drainage patterns. So drainage patterns, geomorphologists and hydrologists often view streams as being a part of drainage basins. A drainage basin is the topographic region from which a stream receives runoff through flow and groundwater flow. So the first type is the dendritic. As you can see sa image, unsa inyong ma-observe sa dendritic nga drainage pattern? Anybody?
Dagag
Unsa
branches.
inyong makita?
Okay, branch. Masyag roots, ma'am.
Masyag tree.
Oo. Tree-like ang iyang design or pattern. It is because they are the far most common to develop in areas where the rock or unconsolidated material beneath the stream has no particular fabric or structure and can be eroded equally easily in all directions. Mao ni siyang magsanga-sanga. Examples would be granite, gneiss, volcanic rock, and sedimentary rock that has not been folded. The next one is kaning radial. Sa inyong ma-observe na pod, unsay difference ni murag unsay inyong ma-notice sa iya? Sa for radial na drainage pattern.
Murag
Nag-form sa around sa mountain, ma'am. Tapos branches.
Okay ra mag. It's not specific, correct yung mag-iingon. Pero it's not really, it can, pwede siya dili mountain. It can also be from a volcano. As you can see, naa siya yung midpoint sa ibabaw. It is elevated. So radial drainage system is a stream that radiates upwards from a central high point, which is kaning and murag tip sa volcano or a mountain. Volcanoes usually display excellent radial drainage and other geological features on which radial drainage commonly develops are domes and laccoliths. On these features, the drainage may exhibit a combination of radial patterns. The next one is kaning rectangular pattern. It develops in areas that have very little topography and a system of bedding planes, fractures, or faults that form a rectangular network. Diba, mura siya uniform tan-awon kay straight ang lines. Dili, compared sa radial o sa dendritic nga, ga-branch off lang siya, then lahi-lahi ang sizes. And the last type is kaning trellis. Trellis drainage patterns typically develop where sedimentary rocks have been folded or tilted and then eroded to varying degrees depending on their strength. Kibali, ga-move siya sa opposite side, mao medyo naa siya kwan bitaw, pasaka, na ay mga mura siya octagon kung tanawon because there are movements to sa different sides nila. So, the next topic we'll talk about is the stream flow. So, the stream flow is divided into two types. The laminar flow, or when the water flows as parallel sheets, and riverbed is even and less erosion because isa ra ka direction ang movement sa water. Ang sediments or ang mga unconsolidated materials na madala is padulong lang forward. So, ang iyang formation is very smooth and even. Compared sa turbulent flow nga, water flow is turbulent and riverbed is uneven and there is more erosion because parehas na lang ikaskas ni mo ng bato dira sa gawas, di ba? Mga kwan siya, mas ma-erode siya. That is what happens to turbulent flow. Water acts as the person nga murag kaskas. That is why there is more erosion sa streams nga na ay turbulent nga flow. So there are also factors affecting the flow velocity. Number 1 is the gradient. It is the slope of the stream channel. The gradient is the steepest in the headwaters and decreases downslope. The longitudinal profile or a cross-section of a stream from its headwaters to its mouth is a smooth concave upward curve that becomes very flat at the lower end of the stream. As you can see here, mo ni siya sa ibabaw is very narrow. Yung pag-abot na din sa lower part is mudako na siya. It is usually expressed as the number of meters the stream descends for each kilometer of flow. Next factor is the channel shape, size, and roughness. A stream's channel is a conduit that guides the flow of water, but the water encounters friction as it flows. The shape, size, and roughness of the channel affects the amount of friction. Larger channels have more efficient flow because smaller proportion of water is in contact with the channel. A smooth channel promotes a more uniform flow, whereas an irregular channel filled with boulders creates enough turbulence to slow the stream significantly. So, para sa aning sa mga rivers, di ba smooth kay ang dagan sa so water kay ang forma sa channel is very uniform. Compared sa kana mga streams bitaw sa bukid, di ba daghan kay siyang bato-bato. So, the more nga naay bato, the more nga turbulent ang area. Kibali madunggan gyud nimo ang kanang raga sa tubig compared sa kanang flat lang ang area nga hilom ra siya. The next factor is kaning discharge. It is the size of a stream channel that is largely determined by the amount of water supplied from the drainage basin. Discharge is katong runoff water. The next one is the longitudinal profile. One useful way of studying a stream is to examine its longitudinal profile. Such a profile is simply a cross-sectional view of a stream from its source area. There is a head, as you can see here, padulong sa mouth. The point downstream where it empties into another water body, a river, lake, or an ocean. So this is what we call as the longitudinal profile. From head to mouth nga movement sa water. Next one is kaning stream erosion. Familiar naman tayo, di ba? Nga word kanang erosion. So the stream's ability to accumulate and transport soil and weathered rock is aided by the work of raindrops, which knock sediments particles loose. Diba, as you can see, Risa, before nga picture, diba, daghan pa siyang bato, less pa ang iyang kanang water. Then, kani sa after is kanang kwan siya. Nanay water nga daghan dayon na erode na ang sides. So next one is stream erosion. Transportation of sediments. So dissolved load is a matter transported in the form of chemical ions and is essentially invisible. Next one is suspended load. It is the largest fraction of material moved by a river, mostly consisting of silt and clay, or particles that remain in suspension most of the time and move downward at the velocity of flowing water. And the last part is the bed load. It is the particles of sediments that is too large to remain in the suspension such that they collect on the stream bottom. This is the photo of the kaning transportation of sediments. Kaning sa dissolved load na part, the most abundant materials in the solution are calcium bicarbonate ions, but also includes sodium, magnesium chloride, and ferric and sulfate ions. Kani siya. So, suspended load naman kay silt and clay. Dere. And sa bed load is kaning mga sobra na material na dili ma-dissolve. So they are particles that move by sliding, rolling, and saltation, meaning transportation of particles by wind or water through a series of bouncing movements. Muna siya, kaning black is gonna symbolize ang katong bouncing movements. The bed load moves only when there is sufficient velocity to move the large particles, because if really ang velocity, impossible na ma-carry off ang mga materials. So, a stream's ability to carry solid particles is described using two criteria. The capacity and competence. Whenever a stream slows down, its velocity decreases, its competence is reduced, and sediment begins to drop out. The largest particles are the first. So, capacity means the maximum load of solid particles a stream can transport per unit of time. And competence is a measure of a stream's ability to transport particles based on size rather than quantity. Mao ni siya ang picture. As you can see, ang white arrow symbolizes the fine or coarse sediments. The black one is kaning fine sediments, and the yellow one symbolizes the coarse sediments. The coarse sediments is makita na ninyo dito sa mouth. So, equilibrium in river systems. A stream profile at equilibrium is called a graded stream. Velocity, load, and gradient and volume of water are in balance. No erosion nor deposition takes place. Para sa ano, as you can see here sa first photo. Kuan lang siya, na equal lang siya. So, faulting disrupts equilibrium by decreasing the gradient downstream and increasing the gradient and the stream velocity at the fault line. As you can see here na ay fault line. Mao ning ginatawag as faulting. Next one is when erosion proceeds upstream from the fault, the deposition occurs downstream. Erosion and deposition continue to develop a new stream profile at which the velocity, load, gradient, and volume of water will be in balance so that neither erosion or deposition occurs. A new profile of equilibrium is eventually re-established. As you can see here, na ay the erosion deposition, then mulas ang erosion, there is more deposition dayon. Ang mahitabo is naa na siya graded. It is called as a graded stream kay equilibrium, naa na siya equilibrium. So stream deposition. Deposition occurs whenever a stream flows, causing a reduction in competence. Put another way, particles are deposited when flow velocity is less than settling velocity. As the stream's flow velocity decreases, sediment begins to settle largest particles first. As you can see here, there is movement from rapids to lakes to falls, then to the sea. So these are the processes of stream deposition. Number 1 is floodplain, meanders and point bars, natural leaves, back swamp, braided stream, alluvial valleys, and last one is delta. So let's start first with the floodplain. So floodplain is a flat, occasionally flooded area bordering a stream. It is usually covered with large quantities of sediments and certain features are developed. As you can see, there are floodplains. Then, once na mawala itong sediments, mauna dahil mo develop ni natural leaves of back swamp. Mahimo sa, and then, na mga bagong features nga ma-develop, which is kato siya. So, next one is meanders and point bars. Meanders means they are the broad looping bends in a river. As you can see, there are different types of looping bends na isa nga, mild lang kanike. Super curved. Then the next one is super curved with a separate one. That is what we call as meanders. Excuse me. So here is a photo of a point bar. So a point bar is a depositional feature that made of alluvium that accumulates on the inside bend of streams and rivers below the slip of slope. Point bars are found in abundance in mature or meandering streams, as you can see here. This is the point bar. Diri mapadulong tong mga sediments mo siya diri sila magpatong-patong. That is why point bar is developed. Due to the kaning cut bank, diri ang mapadulong ang sediments. Pero dira sa pika sa parts mo, mura siya magtipok. So, ang meander in general is a bend in a water course or river. A meander forms when moving water in a stream erodes the outer banks and widens its valley. And the inner part of the river has less energy and deposits of silt. A point bar is deposited where the water on the inside of a meander flows. And last part is kaning cut bank, the zone of active erosion. When water moves here, di ba muhinay man gyud siya kay naay curve. Once nga muhinay siya, those sediments nga mabilin is accumulated as a point bar. Once the water moves again, ma-erode na sad siya, mapadulong sa cut bank. Dayon, dire na sad, then it moves to another point bar. So, next one is the natural leaves. It is a broad, low embankment of build-up along the banks of river channel during floods. Flooding significantly reduces stream velocity, causing deposition of some suspended elements. As you can see here, di ba, wala pa kanang flood. So, plain pa na siya, but when there is a slow accumulation of sediments during flood, magtipok na siya. Then after how many floods, it causes many natural leaves. Mani siya ang mga natural leaves. As you can see here, that is what we call as a natural leaves. Next one is a back swamp. A back swamp is a marshy area of a floodplain at some distance beyond and lower than the natural leaves that confine the river. It is swampy because it is poorly drained. Because of the natural leaf nga, kanang dili makalihok ang water to the kaning main water source, magtipok ang excess moisture diri sa back swamp. Those moisture nga nasa back swamp, mangita na siya og pamaagi sa back or sa front niya nga makasulod siya dito sa main nga water source. Next one is the braided stream. It is a stream with a complex of diverging and converging channels separated by bars or islands. They form where more sediments is available than can be removed by the discharge of the stream. As you can see here, more na siya og sa lapid. It is braided. Daghan sa branches. As you can see, magnet na sad siya sa another nga part sa stream. Then the next part is the alluvial valleys. It is streams that may fill part of their valleys with sediments and then cut through the sediments fill, creating alluvial valleys. This is accompanied by the formation of stream terraces. The most famous example of alluvial valleys is the Mississippi Alluvial Valley. Mo ni siya. These are the different types of stream deposition. If kanang sakwa na gud sa actual na gud nga photo, this one and this one, mix na siya, na kay makita nga meander, na kay makita nga point bar, na kay makita nga cut off, na kay makita nga back swamp. This is what it looks like. So the next topic will be all about development of stream terraces. Stream cuts a valley by normal down cutting and headward erosion processes. Dibali, gagmay pa kanya siya. Notice that, diba? Gagmay pa kay siya. So, changes in climate, base level, denudation, or other factors that reduce flow energy cause the stream to partially fill its valley with sediments, forming a broad flat floor. Because of the erosion or movement of sediments, it creates a flat area. So an increase in flow energy causes the stream to erode through the previously deposited alluvium. Mo ni siya, as you can see, mura na siya nahimong terraces, nanay level. Then the stream shifts lateral and lower terraces that is subsequently changes course of a river. As a river enters a lake or ocean, its velocity suddenly diminishes and most of its sediment load is deposited from the delta. There are two major processes that are fundamental to the formation of a delta. Number one is the splitting of a stream into a distributary channel. Sediment is diverted and deposited as place in areas between distributaries. Money siya, as you can see. Naay branches. Then sa next photo is naa siya mga leaves. Pero dili ka siya visible from here. So there are stages of a stream. Sa useful na stage, if there is rapid flow, when it matures, the slope decreases. Then when it reaches the old age, the floodplain widens. If there is poor drainage, the stream begins to meander or it moves side to side. And when it reaches old age, meanders can be cut off or filled. Next one is when during the earlier times when down cutting is greater than side cutting. When it reaches the maturity, side cutting becomes greater than down cutting. And when it reaches the old age, water flows down and carrying power decreases. And the last one is when water is moving down, eroding the bottom, river is moving straight, carving a V-shaped valley, and when it reaches maturity, it forms the floodplains. As you can see here, during the youth, napa siya formation sa kilid when it reaches maturity. Then, sa old age, it creates there is floodplain. So, do you know, although water is abundant, more than 99% of it is unavailable for human use and a mere 0.3% is only usable. At katombe, di ba, akong dimension sa earlier nga, only a small portion of the fresh water is drinkable. Only 0.3%. So imagine when that 0.3% is messed up by us, then it would be a really problem. It would really be a big problem for us. So that's the end of our discussion for today. Na ba may question?
Wala ra, ma'am.
None, ma'am.
Any questions? And if wala na may questions, class dismissed. You can leave now. Thank you.
Goodbye, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am. Goodbye, ma'am.